What's up? Welcome back. You know what time it is. It's top five time. You joined the channel. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com. That means you're either new and you need to click that subscribe button, or you're a subscriber and I love you. And if you're new and then you click the subscribe button, then I love you too. My love is conditional. Today's top five that we're going to talk about is Jamie Foxx, who's currently starring in They Cloned Tyrone, which is available on Netflix. So this top five is dropping to coincide with that. I have seen 30 Jamie Foxx titles across film and television, and I guess streaming, which I consider to be either film or television. And yeah, so this was a pretty nice list to make. I noticed when I was going through it, I don't really remember any of these being bad performances from Jamie Foxx. I was looking at the list and I was like, has he been bad? I know his Electro was weird, but I feel like he gave the director what the director was looking for. So I don't know, you know. Um, yeah, maybe Electro, but I don't know that that's his fault. Then I'd have to look back to something like Held Up, which it was like 1998. I barely remember it. I just remember not liking it and just being like, I didn't care for that. I even liked Bait. He was in Bait. I loved that movie. I thought that was great. So I seem to be very generous when it comes to Jamie Foxx, even if it's just a casual title like Bait or Law Abiding Citizen or Sleepless or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, he was good in that. The movie was pretty good. He made the film better, yeah. I would say arguably, if I was really being honest, he doesn't really have a worst film. He just has something that I don't know what he did or why he did it. But Dad Stop Trying to Embarrass Me is one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen. So there you go. But let's talk about the best things that he's done. Um, yes. And part of that is because he's so good and he's being squandered in a show that I wouldn't have given to an unknown comic. I don't know. It's so weird to see Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx in that show. So let's kick it off with number five. And at number five, I picked Any Given Sunday, the Oliver Stone football drama, which I think is slowly fading away. I don't think people are quite excited about this. But what Oliver Stone managed to do with the first film was he took Al Pacino and a cast of people who really hadn't like firmly planted their dramatic roots yet. They were still kind of looking to be taken seriously in drama films. People like Cameron Diaz and Dennis Quaid and Jamie Foxx and LL Cool J. And he brought them all into this film, and it worked. He took all these people into this film and made a great cast. And Jamie Foxx sort of has a standout performance because ahead of this, he was known mostly for comedy. And he hadn't really broken into the drama scene. He hadn't really given a serious performance before. But playing a footballer in this film definitely set his career on a path. Later on, other people might say his career kind of kicked off with Ray. I think it actually kicked off basically like 2 years earlier with Any Given Sunday. So, in terms of him being able to be offered dramatic work. So, I picked Any Given Sunday at number five. Number four on the list is We're Your Dream Girls, yeah. Yeah, Dream Girls. Sorry, I got a little bit into that. When I first saw you. Yeah, Curtis and Dream Girls. This is my number four. I love this movie. Bill Condon's Dream Girls is just absolutely... it's one of my favorite musicals that's been adapted into a movie. It's one of the ones where I actually like the songs that they added, which is weird. Because normally the songs, when they add them to a musical, you can tell. You're like, oh no, this is the song they wrote for the movie? But, like, listen, and I think it's Patience is the other one. Uh, are the two that they added, and both of them fit seamlessly into the musical. I love Listen. I think Listen is a fantastic song, and I really love Patience. Um, so yeah, it's it's a Jamie Foxx performance that allows him to be charismatic and also an asshole. So he's got this very sort of divisive, multiple layer performance, and I think Dreamgirls underperformed at the Oscars. I would have loved to see this film show up with four actors in all four races. I would have loved to see this film get Jamie Foxx a lead actor, Beyonce lead actress, Eddie Murphy supporting actor, and Jennifer Hudson supporting actress, along with possibly even a nomination for Nika Nani Rose and supporting actress would have been really great. That would be like perfect if Dreamgirls had been loved that much, loved as much as I love it. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and there was just so much attention being given to Eddie Murphy doing a serious performance and Jennifer Hudson's breakthrough role that most people forget Jamie Foxx from this. But he's fantastic. I've seen this movie a ton of times, so I stand by this with all of my soul, which will come up later. Number 3 on the list is Django Unchained. I debated this because there's part of me that says I don't really want to pick. I'm trying to stay away from picking black actors just playing slaves for like the enjoyment of others, but this is kind of different. This is kind of Jamie Foxx playing like a version that's meant to go out and kick some ass and bust some heads. It doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like one of the other films, maybe like Birth of a Nation or 12 Years a Slave. So because of that, I decided to go with Jamie Foxx's Tarantino in Django Unchained. Obviously Django, who is now unchained, and he is going to, with the help of Christoph Waltz, he's gonna get his woman back. He's gonna get up in there and he's gonna make people regret that they ever chose to cross his path. It's a great performance on so many different levels, and he really does anchor and carry the film. And it's interesting to see him used by Tarantino. It's always interesting to see how Tarantino chooses to use an actor, and I think he gets sort of a really interesting sort of 70s-ish blaxploitation performance out of Foxx here. A performance that he never got to give because he wasn't around. But Foxx seems like, and I say this having seen They Clone Tyrone, Foxx seems like he missed out on a decade. I think he would have been great. I don't know, we remade Shaft a couple years ago with, I don't even know who the hell was in that, along with Samuel. It should have been Foxx. Like, Foxx should be in, he should be given more opportunities to explore this general vibe of filmmaking, because I think he absolutely understands it. And that's what makes this role great, is he understood sort of where it came from. And he was able to channel that into one hell of a performance. And I love this movie. So that's it. Coming up, number 2 on my list. If I tell you what number 2 is, you're going to know what number 1 is. So let's go ahead and do my honorable mentions. Let me tell you what's not number 2 and what's not number 1, because I think right now people are like, I think I know what the top 2 are, and you would be right. But some other performances worth mentioning that I had in consideration were The Soloist. I think he's pretty good in The Soloist. It gets kind of Forrest Gumpy for me, and I don't really know. I know that's kind of why I left it out. I was like, I don't know. Are we allowed to like The Soloist anymore? I don't know. This is a film that we're... Anyway, so I kind of left The Soloist out, but I can't say he's not great in The Soloist. So, as it is, I don't know where this film is at anymore. I felt weird putting it in my top 5 if that was going to be a thing. So, I left it out. Miami Vice. Michael Mann's Miami Vice. Yeah, the reteaming with him and from him and Michael Mann. Again, the film's a little long. It's not always remembered perfectly the way it should be, but it's a damn good film and a damn good performance for both him and Colin Farrell in this film. So absolutely worth mentioning. He absolutely brings a lot to Soul. It's worth mentioning. I know a lot of times, unfortunately, the animated work doesn't make my list, but it really does bear mentioning that Jamie Foxx feels like he's in Soul. That he is kind of like how Ed Asner is such a huge reason why Up is as good as it is. I feel like Jamie Foxx, as being a part of Soul, is the reason why Soul is as good as it is. I already kind of gave a nod to Ali, but I'll give another nod to Ali because we could just keep nodding to Ali all day long. It's another really solid film and performance from him. I actually really enjoy him in White House Down. I think he's actually pretty good in these sort of action films or action comedies. White House Down being one of them. He was also really good in Jarhead. Just another underrated performance of his. Of course, Just Mercy. I could have put that on the list. That would have been fine. So yeah, he's got a plethora of performances, and arguably, I really like Fake Phone Tyrone, and I thought he was fantastic in that. So, it's not. I don't know that it's a top 5 performance, but it's one hell of a return for Fox, who's been stuck in shit like Day Shift, uh, for a while. It was nice. I was like, welcome back, Jamie Foxx. All right, let's get this done. Anyway, so my top 2. My number 2 performance is Collateral. His performance opposite Tom Cruise in Michael Mann film. One of his 2 Oscar nominations in the same year. He had a good year. So, yeah, he plays the cab driver. It's very weird that this is a supporting performance, but it's a supporting performance so that he could be lead for Ray, because he wouldn't have gotten 2 nominations in the same category. But it's obviously a lead performance. I mean, come on now. So he's the unfortunate cab driver that has to drive Tom Cruise's assassin around. This is a great Tom Cruise performance, by the way. We haven't seen this kind of level of Tom Cruise in a while. But it's definitely outside of his wheelhouse. And it just, I don't know. I still love Collateral. I've seen it a bunch of times also, and I think it's a great film. I think it's one of Michael Mann's best. Michael Mann is a really underrated director. I think he has like a couple films that people don't like. Look, I liked Black Hat. I actually thought that was a pretty good film. I don't think it's one of his best, but man, that film did like $3 million at the box office, and everybody was like, well, I guess Michael Mann's dead now. No, he's like, to me, he's like Diet Scorsese. Like, he's just below that. He has a lot of the same skill sets that Scorsese has, and really uses it really well. And Collateral is right up there. So finally, obviously, the top film is Ray. Yes, I'm sorry. I know people have changed their minds about how good the movie itself is, and what Taylor Hackford really managed to do with Ray, and all that kind of shenanigans, but damn, his performance is still fantastic. It still is. I'll fight you to the death on that one. I'm blind, so you'll probably win. But, and I'm not a Jedi. I'm not a Jedi or a Daredevil. Yeah, so Jamie Foxx and Ray it's the perfect blend for him. It allowed him to use his talents, because when he's a sketch artist, he constantly has to create these different characters, and he becomes very good at mimicry. So all the skills that he learned during In Living Color were used, but they were used dramatically, which I think is really interesting. It's the kind of stuff that some of these other Saturday Night Live actors and I guess the remaining cast of In Living Color and Mad TV and places like that really could be doing, because they're already doing it. Somebody like Kate McKinnon that we've seen do this, sort of disappearing into roles comedically, she easily could do that dramatically and then suddenly get herself an Oscar nomination. So they're really adept at being able to see what somebody else's traits are, and the fact that he was able to hone that dramatically, just and use it to craft what felt like Ray Charles. And on top of that, Duke can sing. So we didn't have to have that any weird dubbing, where it's like someone else's voice coming in. Sorry, Rebecca Ferguson in Greatest Showman. But yeah, it's nice to actually have that full rounded performance. He was so good that he's the stand-in for Ray Charles in Gold Digger. So, although I really don't want to talk about the artist of Gold Digger, because if you say his name 3 times, he appears. So yeah, it's Ray's the best. So anyway, that's top 5 with Jamie Foxx. So let me know what you think. Again, that's out of 30 performances, and really, honestly, of the films, there isn't really anything. I was stretching to get to Held Up, and that was just because I can barely remember the film. And I was like, I don't remember liking that. Is it even like a gas station the whole time? I don't remember that. And then there's, but yeah, Dad Stop Embarrassing Me is, I don't know, I don't know who baited him into that. I don't know who's the favor got called in, but oh my god. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will be back with another top 5 when it warrants a top 5. But in the meantime, check out They Clone Tyrone and make sure to click that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the other side.